welcome back to my channel. Today is a Valentine's Day treat collaboration with a bunch of wonderful women. Today in my video, I am actually going to show you two different recipes. This first recipe is a strawberry trifle. This recipe is so easy and they always look so nice. So I am starting off by just cutting up all of these strawberries. And then next what I'm doing is adding just a little bit of sugar and mixing the strawberries up. The next step I'm doing is just taking Cool Whip. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your Cool Whip, put it in a bowl, and then also take your vanilla pudding mix, the largest vanilla pudding mix that you can find, and then you mix it up. So for my Cool Whip, I actually ended up having to microwave it a little bit because it was still a little frozen. But I took the large Cool Whip container and I also took a small Cool Whip container and used that. You don't necessarily have to use that much. I just wanted to make sure that I had enough of the Cool Whip because we have an actual trifle bowl, which you don't have to buy one to do this. You can put a trifle in anything, but we had one, so that's why I did use it, and it has a stand on it. And it is a little bit larger, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough filling for the inside. Once you are done mixing the Cool Whip, you just want to set it aside. Now, you normally use pound cake for the filling, but I couldn't find any, so I am just using angel food cake, which works just as well. So you just cut it up into little squares, and then you'll use it on the inside. That I'll show you later. The next step is actually building the trifle. So like I said earlier, this recipe is super easy. I mean, you really don't even have to cook anything if you don't want to. Like I didn't, I bought the angel food cake the way it is. But now what we're going to do is we're going to layer it. So we're going to start off with the angel food cake or pound cake on the bottom. And then you are going to put the Cool Whip mixture on the next level, and then the layer after that is strawberries, and you just layer it until you reach the top. So it's really easy to do. One thing that you kind of want to do if you want it to look really nice is when you're putting in the Cool Whip mixture, kind of plop it closer to the center and then brush it out to the side so that you're not getting Cool Whip all over the edges of the bowl. If you do, it's not a huge issue and you can actually just like wipe it off with a napkin or something. But it is a little easier that way so that it looks cleaner. last step I did was just kind of add some decorative pieces on the top. So I put some angel food cake pieces around the outside, and then I also cut up a strawberry into fourth pieces, and I put those around the outside. And then to make it just a little bit nicer, I took a whole strawberry and sliced it and kind of fanned it out to make it look nicer on the top. This is not something that you had to do. I honestly just did it for looks to make it look nice. Like I said earlier, this is super easy to make, and it's also pretty inexpensive, especially if you make the angel food cake yourself. You also don't have to add as much strawberries as I did in the middle. It's really up to you how much you add and how big you really want to put it. The next recipe I am making right now is red velvet cinnamon rolls, and let me tell you right now, they were so good. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing up red velvet cake mix, active yeast, and then I'm also adding flour and water to make the dough. Right away you only want to add 1 cup of flour, and then you want to beat it on a medium speed for 2 to 3 minutes. Once you have done that, you want to add additional flour and knead either with a stand mixer or your hands. I just kneaded it with the hand mixer. I didn't even replace the inside piece, the mixing part. I just kind of left it as it is instead of changing it. I don't know if you ever paid attention to my kitchen, but everything inside it is Pioneer Woman. I love Pioneer Woman everything. So I wanted my KitchenAid mixer to kind of look like that too. So I actually found these decals on Etsy and put them on, and I have had them on for about 3 years now and they're still staying on. I just think they look so cute and add a little bit more color to the kitchen. Once the dough is kneaded, you are going to want to put it in a bowl, but make sure that you spray the bowl with cooking spray first so it doesn't stick. And then it says to put it into a warm place for an hour. What I actually did was I put my oven on the lowest heat I could. I covered it with tin foil on the top, and I left it in there for about an hour. It says an hour or until it doubles in size. I think it did take just an hour to double in size. Once the dough has risen, you want to make your filling. So all the filling is just brown sugar and cinnamon, and you mix it together, and then you also melt butter. roll out the dough. So you want to flour your surface first. I always just use the actual counter to do it, and then I wipe it up afterwards. But you want to make sure that there's flour so that it doesn't stick. And what I ended up doing too is also putting flour on the top because it was sticking to my rolling pin. You want to roll it out into the best rectangle you can get. It was a little bit hard, so the cinnamon rolls that I made from the outside part were a little bit smaller, but next time I try to make them, I'll try to make it a little bit more square. Once you are done rolling it out, you just want to rub the butter on the top. My suggestion to this is to use all of the butter that you melted, because I did not use all of the butter because I thought it was buttered enough, but they ended up being just a tiny bit dry. They were still really, really good, but they were just a little bit dry, and I don't know, I think that putting all of the butter down would help it a lot. But once you rub the butter onto the actual dough, then you want to take your brown sugar and cinnamon mixture and evenly distribute it across the dough. The next step is to roll your cinnamon rolls. So this was easier than I thought. I was a little worried, but what I did was I just made sure that I rolled them kind of as tight as I could. And then once you have them all rolled, you want to take a sharp knife and cut them and then put them in the baking pan. So one thing that I ended up doing, so once I cut them and I set them in the pan, some of the edges or the ends of the cinnamon roll were kind of coming off. So I actually took some of the butter and used the butter kind of as glue to keep the ends together. You can kind of tell that the first 3 cinnamon rolls are a little bit smaller than the rest, and that was just because the way I rolled it out, I didn't roll it out good enough. And then what I actually did was I had a little bit of dough left over that I just ended up tossing because it wasn't enough to make another cinnamon roll. So then what you do is you cover them and let them rise for another hour, and then you want to put them in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. So while those are cooking, I am actually just gonna make the topping. So what the topping is it's just cream cheese, powdered sugar, and vanilla. And right now I am just beating the cream cheese and butter, sorry, there's butter in it too, until it's kind of fluffy. One thing that I wish I would have done with making this is I wish I would have set out my cream cheese so that it was more room temperature, but I actually just took it from the fridge, so it was clumping up and it took just a little bit longer to mix it. Once the cream cheese and butter is mixed, you want to slowly add in the powdered sugar and the vanilla. I actually ended up putting just a tiny bit of water in it at the end because it seemed really thick, and I think that had a lot to do with not taking out my cream cheese and setting it out to room temperature. was done with the frosting, I actually took the cinnamon rolls out of the oven because they were done by then. And I just started frosting the cinnamon rolls while they were warm so that the frosting could kind of melt onto the cinnamon rolls. And then the last step I did was add some sprinkles to the top. This isn't not necessary, but it adds just a little bit of cuteness to the top. Don't forget to check out everyone else's yummy treats that was a part of this collaboration. Everything looks so good. I'll actually have the link in my description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next one. Bye!